This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season. Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field. It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good morning, everybody. It's 11 o'clock.
Daylight savings.
Wow.
It's back. Arizona, same time as us now.
Oh, so nice. It's going to start getting light. The sun will be out later. Baseball season is right around. I mean, we got 2 weeks. You realize that?
We had 2 weeks, so we play the Giants back at the Coliseum.
And you got to remember, and we got a big-time show for you today. World Series hero, the greatest Diamondback of all time. Him or Randy Johnson.
I was going to say, greatest Diamondback position player.
No doubt. He's in the, I don't know if they call it a Hall of Fame, Wall of Fame, outfield fame, whatever it is. Luis Gonzalez is going to be here. Gonzo. World Series MVP. We were just looking at the schedule, and before you know it, I mean, it's crazy because there's actually a couple days off. So there's a day off on the 21st. The team comes back on the 27th. You got the, actually the team comes back before that. What the Babe Ruth series is when?
Like the 25th, that Monday?
25th, 26th, day off. And then Stephen Vogt and the Guardians on the 28th.
It's coming fast. I think that Sunday is an off day for us too, if I'm not mistaken. Because they travel back to the Bay Area. I'd have to look at the spring training schedule and have it in front of me. So I should have had it printed out and put right in the wall in front of us so we know when all of the games are. I guess I could just look on the old app and see when it is. But
yeah, I think they are off.
Yeah, I think our last game is the 23rd, that Saturday. And then we got the Giants at the Coliseum on Monday. Then it's San Francisco Tuesday off. And then, as you said it, Voter, our good friend Sandy Alomar, and the Guardians come to town.
All right, I got it up. We are off on the 24th. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games left down in the Valley of the Sun, not counting the split squads.
Yeah,
12 days essentially.
What do we call it?
To get as much in as you possibly can.
We call it the getting down to crunch time is what we're getting to.
And that's why I want to start the show with this. This for me is non-negotiable. If I'm in the meetings and we start talking about roster construction, who is the 26 we are taking from Mesa, Arizona, and bringing north? This is non-negotiable. There are 2 players right now that I'm like, they've got to be on the roster. Very obvious, Zach Geloff. No question, right?
I think it's a no-brainer, yeah.
The next one for me is Lawrence Butler. LB, the law dog, whatever you want to call him. Lawrence Butler, it's non-negotiable, has to be on the roster. Now, I understand we're going to go through it. How many outfielders, how many infielders you're going to take. If you're going to take 13 pitchers, that means you got 13 position players. Lawrence Butler has to be on the roster. Why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's because he is the future. He's exactly what you want. He's big. He's athletic. He's got leadership qualities. He's got toughness. He's got everything you want. You drafted him. You raised him. He loves this organization. He loves playing here. He's everything you want. And the number one thing, he's 23 years old. So when you start, and I get it, we're all about the moment. We're always about the moment. Let's win now, now, now. Everybody in life is about where am I now? What's happening to me right now? But if you're smart, you're always planning ahead. And you know that these years coming up, especially in 2027 and 2028, are huge. The greatest builders in this process was the Indians back in the day. John Hart, Dan O'Dowd, where they built this roster knowing a new ballpark, Jacobs Field, was coming. They knew how to build the roster and have it peak at the right time that gave them an unbelievable run. Lawrence Butler is the one guy you got that's at the perfect age. That when you start looking at 27 and 28, Lawrence Butler will be smack dab in his prime. What we think as a prime of a young man, Major League Baseball, where you throw the physical with the mental, it's that late 20s. It doesn't get any better than that. He's going to be right there. Lawrence Butler has proved to you he deserves to be on this roster. He did it last spring. You said, we'll need to see more. And then you brought him up. He had his struggles. But he's come back and proven to you again that he needs to be on that roster. He's been phenomenal this spring. Who doesn't want somebody of his size, his athleticism, his talent, and his age? Every team in baseball wants that. You've got this guy. So if I think, man, non-negotiable, has to be on the roster, and I'm thinking now and future, Lawrence Butler has to be on the A's.
I think everything you've said about him is correct, and he's charismatic. I know a lot of people don't.
How do you not?
I mean, I know a lot of people that doesn't mean a lot to people, but for a guy that you want to put in front of the fans and the media, Lawrence Butler is that guy. I mean, he likes doing it. He's charismatic. He gives good answers. He's thoughtful. He likes doing it. Like, there's a lot of young guys that they're kind of not used to doing the whole media spotlight thing. Lawrence Butler gets it, and he enjoys it, and he's good at it.
Good news is that we've got questions about the roster. And they're not questions of how do we find somebody. The question is, how tough is it going to be to leave some people off? Because all of a sudden you've got, only 3 outfielders play. Right? And most people in baseball now use the DH not as a position, but as a day of rest for somebody. The days of having, he's the DH, most teams don't have that. They think it's better served. Now, if you do have Big Papi, okay, but most teams don't have Big Papi. So they like to use it as a rotating position to get guys off their feet during a long season, but you still want to get the guy the at-bats. Well, you now have a couple guys that could be potent. You got 3 outfielders. That it's interesting because Andujar is hit. They like Andujar. Andujar was great in winter ball. He is hit. And Vince was telling us from Vegas on Friday, our man Billy Owens, assistant general manager. Billy O loves him. You got Rooker at 30 bombs last year. You got Seth Brown, who's a leader in your clubhouse, another guy you drafted and you raised. You got Ruiz, who is still of that age, who is a part of your future, who has the potential to get you anywhere between 60 to 80 stolen bases and could be that much better this year as he mentally grows and becomes a better player. And there's, no one's a bigger fan of J.J. Bleday than me. I mean, J.J. Bleday, you've got a guy with the premier talent ready to burst out. That's a lot of outfielders, man. You can take 6 outfielders with you?
As of right now, if you project, because, we talked about pre-show about, Aletmus Diaz is ramping up. He has a groin injury, so he might take minor league at-bats this week, I saw, according to Martine. So maybe he's ready by opening day.
Until he does. Today's the 11th. We just said 12 games left. until Diaz actually participates in action, he's out.
Yeah, so that way,
That may help with roster issues.
yeah. So as of right now, if you just look at roster resource on FanGraphs, and I know
Well, think about Aledmus Diaz not able to participate right now is very similar to what we talked about with Luis Medina. And, okay, we got these guys. They're out of options. Oh, my God, Mitch Spence was Rule 5. Kyle Muller's out of options. I don't want to lose either of these guys because they really like Mitch Spence. And now they're really liking Kyle Muller because Kyle Muller's been fantastic this spring. And, when we've talked to Kyle Muller, and especially this spring when we talked to him, it's like, hey, man, you got the talent to be the guy. You got to start being the guy. And he's starting to do that. So you don't want to lose him. So Medina being someone you can put on the IL right out of the gate can help you. Maybe Diaz, as you're going to go through this, Diaz helps you out. But if we have 6 outfielders, I'm not a math major. That's not what I majored in at San Jose State. But if I've got 6 outfielders and none of them are infielders, none of this, well, we can put Diaz in the outfield, which that's bad. But if I've got 6 outfielders, I got to have 2 catchers. That's at 8.
So you have 5 guys left.
So you're going to tell me I got only 5 infielders, 4 have to play, and I got 1 backup guy? Now, obviously, from a first base standpoint, Seth Brown could fill in if something happened with Noda or if Noda needs a breather.
Correct.
But I only have 1 backup guy for third, short, and second. Yeah. That's a dangerous game, man. That's a danger. You get 1 infielder hurt. And now all of a sudden you're calling Mickey Morabito going, get somebody up from Vegas, get somebody up from Vegas. I mean, you're in panic mode.
Yeah, and as of right,
and that guy's got to be able to legitly play third, short, and second.
Yeah, and we know Letmus can play those spots, but we don't know. We're projecting injured list right now for the sake of this conversation.
Well, until he plays, right? He's got to play.
So right now, the only guy you have that would be a guy that can play multiple positions right now that would not be starting would be Daryl Hernandez. Because FanGraphs has Toro at third, Allen at short, Geloff at second, Noda at first. So Toro at third, that means that Hernandez is the only guy available.
Well, Toro can play multiple positions.
Yeah, so you got 2 guys there, yeah. But, interchange them.
5 guys, so you got 5 infielders. So essentially what you would have between short, second, third, you got 4 guys.
I mean, I guess
that's doable, but
yeah,
it's very risky. And you don't have, and that gets back to a whole different argument is this is why it sucks to carry 13 pitchers. Because you don't have the flexibility with your bench like you used to. And baseball wants to go back baseball now wants to force, I don't know what year that's going to happen. Baseball wants to force us to have only 12 pitchers. That would give us another guy on the bench. Because you like having options, right? It's like an NBA game. It's why it's great that's what's great about the NBA. You got this long bench of guys. Not all of them are going to play. Only 5 play at a time. But you got a bunch of dudes suited up in sweatsuits. If you do need them, they are there.
I think, 15 guys 15 or something like that?
And more like 12 guys suit up. But you got a bunch of guys that if need be, they're there at the end of the bench and they rip the sweats off and let's go. Well, we don't have that. Because we take 13 pitchers, we have roster crunches. Our team's depth is like, because we got to have 8 million guys down the bullpen that throw 100 miles an hour. I mean, that bugs. Because I like having a deep bench. I like matchups. It's where teams with deep benches can have matchups because you can match up all these different pitchers and all these different relievers. And that's what's funny about when people talk about being a manager now and how tough it's being a manager. Well, unless you got a backup catcher who's really good at pinch hitting, which is a serious luxury, right? A huge luxury for a Major League Baseball team is if you have a left-handed hitting backup catcher. So you got a guy who's right-handed, can hit left, and can pinch hit. That dude's valuable. You don't think about that, but he's valuable. And that guy for us would be Tyler Soderstrom right now. So if Tyler could learn how to pinch hit, Shea Langelier is going to play, that could be a valuable role for a young Tyler Soderstrom to be left-handed and to be able to cover, because you're limited bench-wise when you have so many pitchers. And you're Mark Kotsay, you want to make moves at the end of the game.
Yeah, and right now, the way Kyle Muller's pitched and Mitch Spence and Joe Boyle's on the mound today, I think we can just safely say he's going to be the fifth starter for now. I know we're going to use 24
Has anybody
starters.
questioned that?
No, but I'm just going to. It hasn't been announced that he's the fifth. The rotation's been set or who our opening day starter is, but we can assume that JP Sears opening day.
Seriously, I'm announcing it right now. Go to X opening day starter. JP Sears,
Joe Boyle. So that means Muller and Spencer, long guys in the bullpen, along with Gott, Scott Alexander, Ursig, Jackson Jimenez, Mason Miller. So those guys aren't, because the injury to Luis Medina, he's going to start the year on the injured list along with Ken Waldachuk and Freddie Tarnock, who has the hip problem. So the pitching rotations kind of coming together. We saw Joey Estes get sent down with some other guys at AAA yesterday. Jordan Diaz, another one sent down, which we kind of talked about. I mean, his batting average dropped to almost below 0.80. I think it ended at 0.83 for spring training. So 2 hits. He's going to be in AAA. So we know what the rotation looks like. It's now the question of what guys make up the 13 position players going forward. And we have 12 days left to figure it out. 12 games.
Jordan Diaz, this is such a big year for him. And I really hope he goes back down and figures it out, because it's tough, right? When you talk about a roster crunch, and he got a lot of playing time last year, but he's in a situation where, he's a player that doesn't really have a position. And we keep hearing about a hit tool that we've seen, but it's not consistent. And everybody can keep talking about age, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but as we've brought up, the birth certificate says he's young, but the at-bats says he's not. So you're going to go through another year, and next thing you're going to look, you're going to go, man, this kid has really played a lot at 24 years old. You're going to have to start making some decisions, some tough decisions. And the last thing you want to do is have Jordan Diaz go, and at 25, 26, the light truly goes on, and now he's mashing. But how many at-bats are you going to give him? I mean, we're now, you want to give him 3,000 at-bats, professional at-bats? How many? He's got to figure it out. And this was a spring for him to make it a no-doubter, right? He comes out, he mashes, and then all of a sudden, he's in this conversation of this roster crunch. But he didn't, and now he's going back to AAA. And when are we going to see him? At this point, with the way the roster is, safe to say, things would have to go bad for you to see Jordan Diaz anytime soon. Because that's great. He can go down to Vegas and put up numbers, and we're all going to go, it's you're playing thin air. The numbers don't mean much. Is he better defensively? Where are you going to put him defensively? Can he play a legit third base? So Jordan Diaz has a lot he's got to figure out. But we talked to Fran Reardon, AAA manager. That's his job. Is that okay? Joey Estes goes down. He's a part of this franchise. That's fine. That's okay. You understand that. And Joey, we talked to at spring training, understood that. It's Jordan going down, gonna be disappointed. And I can't be shocked after the spring he had, but now there has to be the plan to rebuild him. And that's where Fran and the staff there, you have that conversation. Let's get that chin back up. Let's get that confidence back up. Let's get you back to the big leagues. And here's this plan. This is what we think you need to do. He'll have that opportunity. But in organizations, players do run out of time. And you can only sit there and talk about their age for so long before it's like, hey, this is You know, as your guy Mark Jackson used to say, it's a make or miss league.
He said a lot of things.
The streets are talking,
Okay.
but it's a make or miss league, man. You don't hit jumpers, you don't stay here, or you better play some unbelievable defense and rebound, Dennis Rodman.
I'm fighting for my life.
It's a make or miss league. But it's true, right? Hey,
Yeah.
You can't shoot, you can't play. Well, if you can't play defense and you don't hit consistently, because we can swallow in baseball for many, many years. You can swallow a middle infielder who doesn't hit, play defense. You know, a catcher. Maldonado's been behind the dish for the Astros for a long time. And he was hitting just over 200, and Steve Sparks called him their MVP because the way he handled the staff. The up-the-middle guys, you got to play defense. And hopefully you hit, but you got to play defense. It's the corner guys, don't embarrass me defensively, but you better hit. You got to hit. You can't be a light hitting third baseman, first baseman, right fielder, or left fielder. If you've got light hitting left field, right field, first and third, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and real quick back to the maker. Is there any league that's not make or miss, especially hockey and basketball, that's not make or miss?
Well, in hockey, you have defensive players that don't have to score. They can get assist, but they don't have to score.
They're not goal scorers, yeah. But still make or miss league.
Football, you got guys who just play defense. Baseball is interesting because you got guys that play. You got to be able to play. Yeah. As a position player, you got to do it defensively and you got to do it offensively. And if you're not good at one or the other, you better be really good. Like if I'm not good offensively, you bet. Because, I mean, take Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith, the first part of his career was not good offensively, but he was incredible defensively. So you'll wear it. Omar Vizquel early. You'll wear it with certain guys.
Yadi Molina was the same way.
You'll wear it with certain guys if they're great defensively. And then if there's guys who are great offensively, you'll kind of look the other way with their defense.
Like they tell you Moneyball. Giambi's the worst first baseman in Major League Baseball, and they talk about how bad he was his defense in the movie when they're looking to replace him. So you can have the guys, like you said, to hit for power.
You think Giambi was bad at first? I played against Giambi in college at Long Beach State. You should see him at third.
I forgot he was a third baseman.
He was the butcher of Long Beach, man. He was terrible.
Didn't he play some outfield for the A's when he got called up too? Was he like a left fielder? Wow.
He was terrible at third base.
He went full Miguel Cabrera route, third, left, and then like, you know what? We'll put you at first. That's what happened with Cabrera. Remember, Cabrera came up as a 20-year-old third, 19-year-old third baseman.
You had to get rid of McGuire.
Yeah, then and then Giambi had a nice career with the A's though. He was.
And by the way, Giambi's a great guy.
He was down in over the weekend in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he lives there with his kids. Giambi's a great guy. You know, I got to do the thing with him, the Comerica Bank. It was a private event with Comerica Bank that we did in the visiting clubhouse. And I got to sit there and just rap with Giambi. And then we did with the sponsor, we had to do the questions and that whole Q&A. And he's such a down-to-earth, cool guy, Jason Giambi. And I'm so happy that he wants to be back, you know, a part of this organization. Because it's a slippery slope, right, with the Yankee thing. But I'm not sure how much. I don't know what he really does with the Yankees. And I don't think the Yankees view him as a Yankee great. So, yeah, I mean, I have no problem seeing Giambi in uniform being around our guys.
I mean, he just won the A's Hall of Fame last year.
Correct.
Last summer. So,
yeah. I mean, that's what I want to say. I mean, we mentioned Jed Lowry. You know, certain guys that could really help. Guys can help. Not you know, you don't want the guys that come in and are a problem. But you want guys to come in, you want guys to be able to talk to the young players, shoot the bull, maybe offer some tips. Hey, this is what worked with me. And help the message with the coaching staff. I think Giambi could be great at that. I mean, how does a young player not look at Jason Giambi and look at the career? As you old veterans like to say, look at the back of the baseball card.
Well, now the baseball cards are popular again. And that cliche kind of works. For a while, though, it wasn't. Baseball cards are kind of falling. Cards overall.
Well, it's more like look at Baseball Reference.
Yeah, exactly.
Go look at his baseball reference.
Go to Fangraphs or Baseball Reference and look.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see Giambi be around more.
I mean, the guy could hit, so he's a good.
Oh God, he was a monster.
I don't want to. I mean,
he should be a 2-time American League MVP. Got robbed by Ichiro, that fraud. Yeah, I said it.
There was a side-by-side. I forgot to send it to. There's a side-by-side. Someone compared Ichiro versus someone, and it was like pretty much saying how Ichiro wasn't as good as we all think. And I'm like, oh, come on. The guy came over when he was 27 years old, and he had just as many hits as the guy you're showing when he was like 21 or whatever it was. It was a really bad side-by-side. You know how Baseball Reference does a side-by-side? I did it with Cole and Zach Wheeler. Someone did Ichiro and another player, and it was like, this is ridiculous.
Is our athletic account not working now?
Not that I know of.
Because I do want to get into this. We talked about it. I got into this roster thing yesterday because following the box score during the game yesterday and seeing Lawrence Butler continue to hit, I'm like, LB's got to be on the roster. It's non-negotiable. He's got to be on the roster. He's 23. When you want to be peaking in 27 and 28, he's in his prime. He's the one guy. How old's Geloff in 28?
Geloff right now.
30? But that's still prime.
Geloff's 24 right now. So he's 28, going on 29.
Bleday's 26, so Bleday will be 30.
He'll be 30, yeah.
But still, that's fine. If you got guys 28, 30, well, thank God, 2028, what, Lawrence Butler will be 27?
He's 23.7 years old right now, so almost 24. So yeah, he'll turn 28 in 20.
They're going to be the perfect age. This is what Cleveland did back then. And then this is how you build the roster. You build up your own core, and then when it's time to go, then you go out and you get a bunch of dudes. That's what you do. That's how you build it. All right, a World Series legend is going to join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Ever since we got Xfinity, we have Wi-Fi all over the house, even in my hiding spots.
Ha! Found you.
How?
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Now through March 21st, get started with 200 megabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless plan auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Zach Geloff joined Towny on A's Cast Live and discussed his goals for spring training.
I think just keep building on what I've done and just my routines and sticking to it. I think, being on the field is super important. That's the only way you can, add to the team. So for me, it's just going to be keep building on the routines that I think I found that worked well for me last year. Keep building on them and, staying super competitive and try to have that winning, baseball player mentality every day.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, anytime you can get one of the great players of his generation, a World Series champion, a 5-time All-Star, and we always talk about one of the biggest hits in the history of our game. He was a great outfielder. Now around the Diamondbacks, Luis Gonzalez is with us here once again on A's Cast Live. Gonzo, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing great. So are we broadcasting this year? What are all the things you got going with the D-backs this year?
I'm doing about 25 road games this year, and I enjoy doing that, being a part of the organization. I still travel around all our minor league cities and just putting on the old uniform once in a while just to see if I could still go out there and hang around with all the other guys.
We were just talking about certain play. We were talking about Jason Giambi was in Vegas this weekend. He was back in an A's uniform. We were talking about our old friend Jed Lowry as a switch hitter, trying to bring him back. Just when you go back to talk to these young guys, I mean, obviously the coaches, they have their plan and the front office has their plan. You're there to support, but just talk about what it's like when you go in and talk to the young players. And obviously they know what you've meant to the organization.
Well, I mean, the times have changed. It's a lot different with this generation of players. There's a lot more social media and a lot of different things that go on. So there's a lot more distractions for these young guys. You want to try to go out there and keep them focused on the task at hand, which especially for the minor league guys is to try to, reach their potential and get to the major leagues. But for the big league guys, their thing is to try to stay in shape, keep it going, and try to grind it out. And last year was a big year for us. We surprised a lot of people getting to the World Series, and with a young team, there's not a lot of room for our young guys to try to make the ball club, especially when you got a young group of guys that are already starting to establish them here as big leaguers.
Last year was funny. Like after we talked to you in spring training, we saw that team. I said, Arizona stole a ton of bases the year before. They're super athletic. They're my wild card kind of chic pick. And it turned out to be a great pick. I mean, 84 wins, but it's about getting in. You know how hard it is to repeat. As a World Series champion, we haven't seen a team repeat. You knocked off the Yankees, kept them from the four-peat. Talk about what it's like when you've been to the mountain. Obviously, the Diamondbacks didn't win like you guys did, but talk about how tough it is the very next year to do it all over again.
Yeah, it is. And we've seen that already in spring training. We pushed Merrill Kelly back a little bit and Zach Gallen, some of our two aces at the top of the rotation, just to give them a little bit more time off. When you get into postseason play, that's an extra month and a half that you have to go out there and play. So that off season is a lot shorter for these guys. So they have to be ready to go a little bit quicker. So I think Torey Lovello and the staff and the front office kind of decided, let's back these guys off and get them going. I think Merrill made his first start maybe a couple days ago, as well as Zach Gallen. So, where guys already, as starters are starting to go in their second or third time around now, coming up into the rotation, this was only their first couple innings that they threw.
Torey Lovello, we love having him on the program. Being a former Oakland A, he always comes on with us. And I have it written down here. I have the old swinging A's here, and I have it written down on the back. His 4 things: love, trust, commitment, and effort. Now, I think a lot of people talk a big game in sports, but when Torey talks about love, trust, commitment, and effort, he truly means it. Talk about what he means to this organization, just not as a manager, but truly as a leader.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, he embodies the ultimate player coach type of guy that's out there. He's a younger manager, so he relates to a lot of these younger players. And I think, you walk around the clubhouse, this is a very tight-knit bunch of guys. And I think the culture that they've created here in the last few years with these young players, some of our veteran guys have kind of taken a step back, and you got guys like Corbin Carroll and Gurriel, who's out there every day with the fancy hair and everything. So Gabby Moreno, our young catcher, these guys have all stepped up and become big leaders and big voices, not only in our team, but in our community also.
How much the new rule changes from last year where we're promoting athleticism? We want speed. We want stolen bases. The shifting changes. How much has that all played into the Diamondbacks' success?
I think a lot. I think if you saw early in the season last year, we got out of the gates extremely well. We kind of exposed the Dodgers early, running a lot of, stealing a lot of bases and running a lot on them. They made some adjustments as the season went on, but then at the end, we were able to, we kind of lost our way for about a month or so there and got out of doing what we did so well, which was stealing bases, creating havoc out there. And then we got back to it the third part of the season, and then it ended up carrying us all the way into postseason play and just playing small ball, bunting runners over, getting the guy over, getting him in any way that we can, just doing all the little things. And our pitchers were starting to pitch well, and our bullpen really started to establish themselves and create, find their roles when we made that trade for Sewald.
You start thinking about pitching, and I always love to go back and talk about your World Series team because I've had a lot of conversations with Bob Melvin about it. You look at all the great players. You guys had so many great players on that team. But when you've got Schilling and Johnson, when you've got a big 2,
yeah.
Just the confidence that gave you guys knowing we've got these 2 dudes. We got a shot against anybody.
Yeah, you're right. It's a big lift for a team when you got a couple horses at the top of your rotation, and you almost feel like you have a 1-run advantage before the game even starts because those guys are going to keep you in the game somehow, some way, and all you got to do is try to find a way to scratch out some runs. And when those guys got a lead, they were going to do everything they can to try to hold it, and they didn't want to come out of games. It's a lot different now. You don't see starters going deeper into ball games anymore because of pitch count and all the other things that are going on. Other, guys out of the bullpen have their certain roles that they're thrust into. But with those guys, it was their ball. They didn't want to come out. It was their game.
And do you view Gallen as one of those guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's one of those guys too, that when he gets in a good rhythm in the ball game, he starts feeling it out there. The big thing for him is not to fall behind. And when he gets ahead of hitters, you see a lot more swings and misses early or more contact early in the at-bats. Then that gets you a lot deeper into the ball games.
Let's end on this. First time you saw Corbin Carroll, what were your thoughts, and what do you think about him now?
Special kid. He's just a special kid, the way he plays the game, the way he approaches it. He is a young player in a veteran's mindset. He goes out there and plays the game the right way, plays it hard. He gets it. Spring training this year, first couple of days, I think it was President's Day, first full day workout out there. Ton of kids out there. And after they've been running around all day, he took the time to go over there. And, you just sit back and watch from afar because I always took pride in, being around the fans and know that, they spend their hard-earned money to come out and see you play as a big leaguer. And Corbin understands that, and he gets it. And he's a great ambassador, not only for our team, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, for the game of baseball. And I think he's going to be a superstar here for a long time.
No doubt. When he signed that contract, all these kids in the Valley get to grow up with him as he grows in his career. It's such a smart move, and it's great to see that they're going to have that fixture for a long, long time, and Diamondback fans will have their star to watch. Quickly, how's your son doing?
He's doing good. He is in with the Phillies now. He's a free agent. He's out in camp right now. I went out there last week just to kind of check him out. I grew up in Tampa, so it was kind of go home and see some family and friends, and then spend a little bit of time with him, take him to dinner a couple nights, and then I just try to stay away from him and let him grind it out over there.
Well, it is always an honor to have you on the show. You know that. We look forward to seeing you this season. You be well, and good luck to the Diamondbacks.
Thanks, Chris. Always a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
The great Luis Gonzalez right here on A's Cast Live. That guy's a World Series hero, Cody. He's a great get.
I'm glad we're able to get him. And, I still remember that World Series so much.
Oh, my God. That
was
was the biggest hit. If you hate the Yankees like I do.
And I was 13 and I hated the Yankees. And I don't want to see them repeat. And, they were going for 4 in a row, right? Yeah, 98.
Yeah. They're the last team to repeat.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned it hasn't happened in the National League since the Big Red Machine.
Think about how hard it is to repeat in baseball. We have not seen a team since the Yankees won 3 in a row. And if you go through that run of 98, 99, 2000, a lot of people, including myself, think the 98 Yankees is the best modern-day baseball team that we have seen. They had everything. They had
114 wins that year?
And then they added Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
that's Savannah Banana Roger Clemens.
It's insane how good they were. They almost won 4 in a row. It took a heroic effort of Schilling and Johnson and then the hit by Gonzo there against Mariano Rivera in the 9th inning. Oh, man. It took just greatness to take down the Yankees, who were about to win 4 in a row.
And
we haven't seen it since.
And then 2 years later, they did make it the next year. Then 2003, they're right back in the World Series again against the Marlins. Like, that just shows you how great those Yankee teams were with Jeter and Posada and Bernie Williams and Andy Pettitte. And then, as you mentioned, Roger Clemens. And then they were just unbelievable. And we haven't seen it. We haven't seen a team like that since. And I don't know if we will for a while. When it comes
no, it's so hard. It's so hard to do because it's just not about talent at that point. That's what you have to realize. It's not, you have to have a mindset that you're going to be able to get through no matter what. We're going to get through this long season and we're going to win the championship. Think about that. We're going to go through this. We've seen it with the Warriors. We've seen it with the Patriots. We've seen it it's a mindset that you have to be able to have runs like that. Yes, you have to have talent, but a lot of people have talent. Why can't the Dodgers do it? Why can't the Braves do it? They've had the talent the last few years, both of them, and they can't do it. There's something about the mindset of these teams that they know they're playing for it. They're going to be in it, and they're playing for it. And to be able to do that X amount of years in a row, how many teams in the history of baseball have won 3 in a row? There's 2. Multiple Yankee teams and the A's of the 70s. That's it. And they're the only modern-day team to do it. Well, I guess you would say the A's of the 70s are still – would the 70s to you kids still be considered –
I think it's still modern.
Still modern?
I think they consider what's the modern era of baseball? I think that's modern era baseball definition. There's a certain date.
Well, you got to, that the thing is that we're now
1901 and up is modern baseball, they say.
The 70s is a long time ago.
Yeah, it's 50 years ago. 50 years ago.
1972 was 52 years ago.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I know that for a fact. But that also is a good thing. That means everybody's got a shot. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a shot.
God, 50. Maybe 50 years ago this year, we were the final of the three-peat.
Years go by fast, man. That's why when you do a show like this, You have to stay in the moment because fans want to be in the moment. Fans, and that's human beings. We're all about the now. What have you done for me lately? It's about now, 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 now. But it's like, man, time passes by fast, and you got to make sure your business is peaking at a certain point. This is not going to be the year the A's have to peak. But let me tell you, coming up, it's going to be. And you've got to be able to find, it's like it's not sexy to say, do you remember how the Astros did it? Do you remember how the Orioles have done it now? And a lot of people go, draft. It's not all draft. It's a mindset of finding the best play. Not if you go down that entire roster of that Oriole team that won 101, it's 101, right?
Yeah, last year, yes.
101 games. Not everybody's a draft pick. Right? You got to collect players and build for the future. And Mike Elias kept saying, we're staying the path. And they're like, well, you got all these guys. When are they going to be good? And then all of a sudden you keep hearing about the farm system strong. The farm system's getting better. A lot of the things that we've been talking about. Our farm system is way better than it used to be. And when we were down at camp, we kept saying, wow, there's a lot of athletes down here. This is a different deal. Well, these kids, for you to be able to be competitive, these kids, they got to grow up. And they're starting to grow up in front of our eyes. And that's why I started the show today with Lawrence Butler. Lawrence Butler's growing up. And it's great to see.
Yeah, when I was looking at we mentioned the Orioles, breaking news, Corbin Burns is going to start opening day for them. I don't know if you had that penciled in or not, but he's going to start. And imagine being an Orioles fan right now, and the biggest thing you're worrying about in spring training with a young team like that, I think they only lost 2 games in spring, is will Jackson Holiday make the team? Is what the big thing though they're worrying about. Is it the kid's hitting so well in spring training? Will he make the opening day roster for the Orioles? But getting back to the A's, Lawrence Butler's hitting .423 in spring training. He has to be on the roster to start the year. There's no way you could. What's the justification by starting him in AAA?
There's none. He's done everything he's needed to do. And he's exactly what you want. I'll say it again. You drafted him. You raised him. He loves this organization. He's big. He's athletic. He's a leader. You said charismatic. He's everything you want to build your organization around. Zach Geloff, the same way. These are the pillars. I've been saying it in the post-game show. Got to find pillars to build the organization on top of. Who are those pillars? Lawrence Butler looks like he can be one of those pillars. Zach Geloff looks like he can be one of those pillars. Things are going to change dramatically over the years. I know a lot of people don't want to believe that. That's fine, but they are. And when these changes happen, you have to have pillars to build the house on top of. And Lawrence Butler is one of those players. Lawrence Butler loves being an A. He loves this organization. The organization loves him. Once again, you've raised him. It's important to promote the people you raise. However you feel about Rooker, Andujar, you didn't raise them. You saved them. But you didn't raise them. It's important when you draft people to be able to say, listen, you put in the work, you perform, you're going to have a chance. That's why you see some systems get stale is when guys start playing, they realize, man, for years, I remember talking to JT Snow about this. You forget JT Snow was a Yankee. You had no chance to make the big leagues. It was miserable. Like you're playing because you love baseball and you want to be a professional and everything. But you knew back then, man, you could be in the minor leagues. You could be a high pick and be in the minor leagues forever.
That's the HUD man. He had to write a letter to George Steinbrenner.
Yeah, I mean, you think I want to be in the minor leagues for 8 years, 7 years? No. So your young guys have to believe that there is a path to basically their ultimate goal, which is the big leagues. I mean, we're a rare sport. You get drafted in the NBA or you get drafted. Because all these kids look at two sports. No offense to hockey. But all these kids look at two sports. They look at football and they look at the NBA. I go to college, I play, I get drafted. I'm playing on television, right? I'm playing on Fox. I'm playing on CBS. I'm playing on NBC, ESPN. Basketball, I could be on TNT. But that's the thing. It's like you watch these other sports, I get drafted, I'm playing in the NFL and playing in the NBA. I get drafted, I get sent to God knows where in the middle of nowhere. You got to give me hope, man. You got to give me, you just can't say, oh, he got his, I mean, he got his chance. Oh, you see, he was in Mesa and he got to see the big leaguers. If someone like Lawrence Butler goes out and has 2 springs like this, you have to reward him. I mean, if you send him back down, what's that message you're sending to everybody? I mean, isn't that what he's 23? He's a guy you drafted out of high school. He's been through it. And now he's showing you, I'm ready to go. And even if Lawrence Butler starts out slow, I don't care. He's got to be here and get at bats. And that's the problem with playing for now. When you play for now, I get it. Trust me, I got to do a post game after every single game, and I got all these callers that only care about the now. But it's what you're building that's going to come in 26, 27. And I'm not throwing 25 under the bus, but 26, 27, and 28. That's when the monster's got to be ready to go. That's when you got to release the monster out of the cage. And all these guys got seasoning. You know, you're going to get kicked around and you're going to get beat up and you're going to have some rough spots, but you learn from that. And that's what you're building right now. But Mark Kotze, David Force, they want to win now. So you're going to have Rooker and Andujar and Brown. But the odds that those guys are going to be here when that moment of releasing the monster, as I'm explaining, they're not probably going to be here as guys in their mid-30s. Now, you can have guys in their mid-30s. I mean, a great roster will have guys in their prime, veterans, and some young guys. You have a balance. But right now, I can hear the postgame show right now. This guy's got to play. And I got to go, yeah, you know, he's playing well. But at the end, is this guy going to be here in 27, 28? No.
Yeah, when we started the show to talk about the roster construction and how we could see it going down. Not that this means apropos of anything, but Miguel Andujar is playing first base today. So he could play, I mean, outfield and first base.
Is that bad news for Brown?
Yeah, I don't know how he...
You know, if Andujar could play third base again, everything would be...
That's also very true, yeah.
Hey, can you play third again? I know.
Because I'm going to look, because I forget the lineup over the last... I'm going to look at the lineups over the weekend and see if he played it all. Hold on. Because I saw last week on the game that got postponed against the Guardians, Seth Brown left the game early with... there was some kind of he had something happen. I remember seeing our PR account tweeted out. Seth Brown left the game due to lower back tightness, and I haven't seen him in the lineup since. So I mean, that's something to monitor going forward with.
And that could change things also, right?
Yeah, that could. I mean, if he's somehow doesn't play and he gets placed on the injured list, I mean, this is all hypothetical. Along with a Letmus, that eases the burden a little bit to having Butler and Hernandez here and carrying the outfielders like we saw. So. We still got how many games left? Did we say? Is it 12? Something like
12 days. There's a couple split squads.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that all starts. I mean, not all starts today, but we got another game today at 1 first pitch 1:10 against the Diamondbacks. Where do they play at? Is that Salt River Fields?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody what we're talking about are good things, right? You're talking about roster construction and you're talking about players that you believe are legit players who can compete at this level. We didn't have that 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we're coming out of a lockout. It was hodgepodge. It was thrown together. This is a different deal. This is, no question, a different deal. And having tough decisions is what you want in camp. And that, I just saw Torey Lovello's name.
They emailed me back today and said that today's going to be tough. So I'm going to respond.
Right.
I'm going to tell them, like, hey, we play you guys. I think it's a weekend series. We go to Arizona. So we'll try to get them then. Because I saw it too. I'm like, wait, are they getting back to tell me he could do it at any time right now? Or is he just busy and he's busy? We'll get him. He's our guy.
Okay, I'm officially in to the website now. I've been struggling to, as you know, usernames and passwords. I sometimes can be a mess, but I'm in, and we can get into a topic that we have been on top of this, and that's why I like to remind people of this kind of stuff. The reason why you watch this show. We've been on top of this to where other people have turned a blind eye. And it's not so much negative as it is you see that there's fire and you see that there's smoke and it's off in the distance, but it's going to grow and this is going to be a really, really big problem. And while everybody else is turning a blind eye. Because we got into, I don't know the exact year, but at some point, we stopped worrying about guys being able to pitch and pitch deep into games and now only cared about strikeouts. Can you not have the ball put in play? I don't know what the year is, but at some point, you had these people come in, and I understand. The data says guys don't put the ball in play. You got a good chance to win if the other team doesn't put the ball in play. So I get it. But when you thirst for that and you long for that, and that's all you try and have, it's short-minded because there's consequences with it. Whenever you don't have balance, there's consequences. And you might be saying, what the hell is he talking about? I'm talking about all your pitchers are hurt. You allowed people to come in and give you a bunch of data, and the data said one thing, so you implemented all that data, and then now you have just strived, you thirsted for, everybody throws hard. Everybody max outs every single pitch. And it looked great, but the human body can't take it. The human body can't take it. And there's this revolution, and it's affected all the ages. We have young kids getting Tommy John surgery. We have young kids getting a second Tommy John surgery. Everybody, just wanting velocity and power and because we as human beings love that. We love how fast does that jet go? How fast does that car go? How fast is that guy sprinting in the Olympics? How fast is that running back? We want power. We want speed. How far is Rory McIlroy hitting the golf ball? How hard does that guy hit a slap shot? We love power. Human beings love power. We love muscle, and we love power, and we love speed. But it comes at a cost. And then now we have pitchers who can't go deep in games. So now we have to have 13 pitchers on the staff. And then we can't keep them healthy. And it's an epidemic of guys being hurt year after year after year. And they keep trying to make excuses. It's like, we really know what the root cause is, but you don't want to talk about that because it makes you look bad. Mason Miller's amazing. Well, Mason Miller, pitching the way he pitches, will not stay healthy. What's the root cause? Is it really the pitch clock? No. Because all I got to do is put MLB pitchers injuries or anything like that in a Google search, and you will show all this. You'll see 21, 22, all these articles well before we had a pitch clock about everybody going, oh, no, we've got an epidemic of guys getting hurt. So people trying to use the pitch clock right now, it's ridiculous. The root cause is anytime we try and have the human body go max effort all the time, it won't be able to sustain it.
Here's a number. As teams put emphasis on their velocity and stuff, injury list placements for pitchers rose from 241 in 2010 to 552 in 2021. 552 injury IL placements for pitchers just because of velocity and stuff from the emphasis on throwing hard. And we saw one today. The one I'm finally nervous because we had the heated debate with Hembo about Cole versus Wheeler. Garrett Cole's getting an MRI on his right elbow. This is a guy that's been able to do it for years and never had an issue. Now I guess he's having problems recovering at the time of the year. So John Heyman and Jeff Passan announced on X that Aaron Boone said he's going to get an MRI on his right elbow.
What was more efficient long term? Guys that threw strikes, moved the ball all around, didn't max out on every pitch, or these guys huffing and puffing and everything's as hard as they go? What worked better? What did you get more return on investment? What was a better return on investment? Now knowing injuries, clearly Gaylord Perry throwing a splitter and winning 300 and whatever games and throwing over 300 innings is far more efficient than Jacob deGrom, who people say it's the best stuff we've ever seen. He's the best guy that couldn't pitch long term. And you could throw Sandy Koufax in there. It's a different time, though, because deGrom has had everything, right? You got the study of biomechanics. You got the study of data. He's got the best health, people around him, diet, nutrition. deGrom had everything there in New York. He had everything. Couldn't stay healthy. You have the best minds around these guys, and you can't keep them healthy. I mean, Dave Stewart was winning 20 games a year for 4 straight years. He wasn't blowing 100.
I take the Greg Maddoxes, the guys like that didn't throw hard.
You had the freaks. You had Nolan Ryan. You had Randy Johnson. You had the freaks. You had power guys like Clemens. Clemens never had Tommy John. Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
I mean, Pedro Martinez. You got the guys who throw hard, but it wasn't 101. I mean, and I don't know if I'm saying this guy. When's Johnny?
12:30.
Oh yeah, I'm like 12:30. Time change.
Yeah. Daylight savings.
All right. So this is the article we've been talking about. And what is going to blow your mind is the fact that we're not talking fastballs. Glenn Fleissig, I believe that's how you say his name. He is the biomechanics research director for the American Sports Medicine Institute. Sounds like a fancy title at a fancy place.
Yes.
This is in The Athletic. He thinks, and a lot of these guys think, it's not fastballs. It's almost like, and 2 friends of the program, we love both these guys, but are they good for baseball? That would be the pitching ninja and our guy Eno Saris, the inventor of Stuff Plus. Because all the stuff the pitching ninja's putting out there and all the data that Eno's putting out there, according to this guy, is hurting people. Sweepers are a problem. On the elbow. They're going through the biomechanics, and they're all now saying that sweepers are not good. Sliders, we already know, have been a killer for elbows for years. Split fingers have been a killer for elbows. But it's just they're going. So this guy is in this article, and he's just talking about it's just this stuff, throwing everything, even the changeup grips, and you're throwing it as hard as you can. This is what's ruining everybody's elbow. And the science points to it. And if you are part of I always promote The Athletic, because The Athletic is, I think, they've tapered off since the New York Times has bought them. They've released a lot of people. I believe they're only covering 15 teams this year, but still, there's a lot of good journalism in The Athletic. And this is a great article in The Athletic where they're talking about, sweepers, sliders. Sweeper is the new rage. The horizontal break, right? This horizontal, we love it, right? The pitching ninja loves the tunneling and loves showing you all the different ways the ball moves. But in the end, it's at the expense of these guys' elbows.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dr. Keith Meister, who's the prominent doctor they talked to who works with the Rangers, said he repaired 230 elbow ligaments last year and is way ahead of pace this year. Shohei Ohtani threw more sweepers than anybody in baseball from 21 to 2023. Oh, and yeah, he's now he had his second major elbow procedure. So yes, the sweeper is, I mean, we've seen it. I mean, we've seen our own guys throw it. And we're seeing a lot of guys, like we just saw Lucas Giolito be out now with his second reconstruction. Verlander's out with right now because of his shoulder. Kodai Senga's hurt. Kevin Gossman's hurt. Alec Manoah's hurt. They have shoulder injuries. So these are just recent guys that seen this happen in spring training in the last week or so.
Now, what's interesting about this Meister guy is the fact that he created this new bracket. We saw the Brock Purdy, Shohei Ohtani. So he's got a lot of cred in the industry, right? And the fact that, did he do the procedure on Ohtani? It used to be always James Andrews, but this guy's pretty prominent.
Was it Dr. Alatrosh who did Shohei?
But this guy, the Meister, the doctor, the sweeper puts tremendous stress on the inner elbow. The power movement changeup, as Meister calls it, also puts inordinate strain on the arm. And to throw these pitches, he said, you have to squeeze the crap out of the baseball. It's a great article because it basically goes back to everything we've been talking about. Is instead of, and Scott Emerson, God bless him, our pitching coach talks about it. I want major league pitchers, not minor league throwers. We have a lot. Everybody is turned into a thrower. And it's baseball's fault. We've told you the harder you throw, the higher you're getting drafted. So every level, everybody's trying to max out. And it's everywhere from youth baseball all the way to the big leagues, and the human body can't take it. So then all of a sudden, what do? Do we cut back on that? No, that's not what teams do. You know what teams do? They basically turn pitchers. This is what scared the hell out of me in this article. They compared pitchers to running backs. Because in the NFL, we've turned running backs into just a position of a rotating door. We're not going to have a guy for a long time. He's going to be here for a couple of years, and then he's gone. We've turned pitchers into a turnstile. That's what we've done. And probably the team that I think as Cody is around this show has changed a little bit. You used to be fascinated by the Rays, but now you start to realize the Rays may be the biggest culprit of them all. We don't care about the humans. We don't care about it. It's just turn and burn. They've had so many injuries. They just turn and burn guys, turn and burn. Their guys are hurt. Now they sign hurt guys, but their guys are always, it's a revolving door. And they basically turned the pitcher into a running back. And it's sad. It really is sad.
I think in the article, it says that the average, I think I marked it because it was a long article by Ken Rosenthal and Eno Saris. The average age is now under 3 years for all players and just 2.7 years for pitchers is what their average.
So take a roster. You got 13 pitchers. You may have the guy for 2 years.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. Printing out this article. By the way, I couldn't get back into it. I'm now printing this article. I'm putting it right on this desk because this is where, if I'm not at the Coliseum, this is where I do the post-game show. You're looking at it. And I'm going to have it. And I have this article. And every single time people bitch about pitching, and every single time someone says something about a reliever, it's going to be like, well, you're only going to have the guy 2 years anyway, max. It's like a running back. I mean, you're going to have a bullpen this year. What are the odds all these guys will be back in the bullpen the next year on any team?
It's very unlikely.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
We're just basically chewing and spitting out pitchers at an unbelievable rate. And that's where it comes back to Perry Manassian, the Angels GM, a couple of years ago when he kind of educated everybody. Hey, we do the math, and the average team uses 13 pitchers. And you just start looking at it, and you're like, wait a minute, we used 24 last year. Kansas City used 23. And the broadcaster for Kansas City goes, well, there's openers. No, the starter's the start. You start the game, you're the starter that day. And by the way, no one even has a exact definition of an opener anymore. What if a guy goes 2 or 3 innings? Is he really an opener? If he goes 3 innings, if a guy comes out, reliever, and he's hot, and you have him keep going, is he still an opener? Are you an opener if you pitch a third of the game? Not really.
No, you're going against the definition of what it started.
The opener
as.
was you get the first 3 outs and you're done. Your day's over. And, like the Giants. Giants were the king of they should just be called non-traditional starters. The opener is not. The opener was you get the first 3 outs and you're out of Dodge. You're back there getting ice on your arm, drinking a cold one. And if you're an old Red Sox, you're playing a video game and eating fried chicken.
There you go, yes.
But if reality is, Giants would have a guy go 2 innings. Who was the guy against us? And I'll never forget this. It was the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time. Guy for the Giants is dealing against us. It was over at their yard. He'd blown through the first 2 innings, and it's the 3rd inning with 2 outs, and Kapler goes out and gets him because Tony Kemp was hitting. And at the time, Tony Kemp, God bless him, but he was brutal. I didn't think he had a home run at the time, or he might have had 1. And remember, Tony Kemp had some mass struggles early last year. He came out and matched up against Tony Kemp. The guy couldn't get 1 more out. It was Tony Kemp.
You said it was in Oracle Park, right?
Correct.
I'm going to try to see who it was because I remember it, but for a life of me, cannot remember who the pitcher was.
I remember coming on after that game going, now I know why all my buddies who are Giants fans can't stand watching this. You matched up against a left-handed guy. I mean, Tony Kemp was hitting like $170 at the time. You're matching up to get Tony Kemp out in the 3rd inning? Crazy.
Okay, I'm looking because the first game was Alex Cobb, so it was not him. Ryan Walker, 2 2/3, 1 hit, struck out 3, and then they brought in new ace Scott Alexander.
Okay, Ryan Walker has gone 2 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball. Scoreless.
Yeah.
And you're going to take him out when he needs 1 more out because of Tony Kemp? Tony Kemp was hitting like 160, 170 at the time. I was like, what's going on? Like, it was hard to believe. As you keep score, right? You're keeping score. And Kapler comes walking out in his stupid high tops and whatever he was wearing that day. And you're just like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm looking right now, and Tony Kemp got a single on that at bat. So
it didn't even work.
No. And then Geloff came on and hit a fly ball to right field, and that's how he ended the
inning.
inning.
Matched up against Tony Kemp in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, and you got a hit.
Is that ridiculous? The 3rd inning. It's the 3rd inning of the game. A guy's pitched scoreless baseball, and you took him out. I mean,
that's why he's the assistant GM of the Marlins now.
Oh my God. How does Gabe? What is it about Gabe Kapler? I mean, we had him on. I like him. I'll be honest. When Gabe Kapler, I've said this before, when Gabe Kapler was with Fox Sports, I used to have him on my talk show, and I had my talk show on 95.7 The Game. I used to have Kapler on. He's a great interview. Because he was a baseball analyst. We talked baseball. We talked nutrition. Kapler was great. But that was as Kapler works as a media personality. We had Kapler on at the winter meetings down in San Diego, whatever year that was.
His first year with the Giants. Like right after he goes in
19?
19, yeah. The first year he's in like right.
He was great. But you just you hear about everything that happened in Philly, and now you know that it happened in San Francisco, and you're like, wow, how does this guy keep getting these gigs?
If you want to watch something with him that still make you laugh, and you're like, what? He put a video out on TikTok earlier this year talking about how, if Google Maps says it takes 13 minutes in a car. And
I'm fine with that. And he used to do burgers, and
it was funny.
I watched him one time cook a ribeye. I'm fine with that. Kapler's a bright guy, right? He's about mental health. I mean, he's the most fit manager maybe of all time. Kapler's strapped. You would not like if I remember there was one player who kind of, once again, I'm not watching every Giants game, but there was a player who did something and pissed Kapler off. Dude, Kapler will destroy you. Kapler is strapped.
It was, I'm pretty sure it was Zach Littell, the guy that the pitcher, he came on and took the ball from him. And then they started going at it in the dugout, and that guy got cut. And now is the starting pitcher for the Rays.
Like, Kapler will destroy you. Kapler is a very strong man. He is. When it comes to fitness, you're not messing with Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, Zach Littell had some words for Gabe Kapler as he's pulled out of the game.
There you go. Let me tell you something. I'm taking Kapler in that fight any day of the week. Yeah, if you've ever seen Gabe Kapler without a shirt on, he's Remember, he was super athletic as an outfielder. He was the final out for the Rays in Dallas Braden's
perfect game.
game. But Kapler, he's built, man. I mean, he'd maul you in a second. But as a manager, doesn't work. And now assistant GM?
Yeah. Peter Bendix is the GM of the Marlins, a former Rays guy, and then Kapler's now the assistant GM.
Good luck. I'm not saying Kapler's a bad dude. I just wouldn't want him as my manager. I really have him as a guest on my talk show.
I'd like to have him again. Maybe we'll reach out when we play the Marlins. I think the Marlins.
Yeah, we'd love to have him on.
Do we go to Florida or do they come here? I can't remember.
I really want people. It's almost like I guess we couldn't do that. I almost want to take the article, put it out there so everybody, even if you're not, you have to read this article about pitching because it tells you that like they have some unnamed, and I hate the unnamed source, but that's just a reality. But an unnamed pitching coach, analytics says velo is super important. Pitchers and analysts pursue velo. The pitchers that don't do this retire. The ones that stay take on injury risks to avoid working at Costco. You're like, come on, man. You got to be able to move the baseball. We're so into velocity. It's like, I mean, how many times when Mason Miller pitches do we all just cross our fingers and go, I hope he stays healthy? That's not a good way to go through. It's not a good way to go through life.
Well, you mentioned too, he said it's in the article, hyper focus on performance often begins at the youth level. Many pitchers experience problems before ever reaching the majors. The number of pitchers drafted in the top 10 rounds with a history of elbow reconstruction rose from 6 between 2011 and 2013 to 24 between 2021 and 2023. The league spokesman said.
And so what happens is now we're now babying all the starters and they don't go deeper in games. What means the games become a bullpen game. The bullpen now pitches more innings than ever before. And it's this dance, right? And how they got you to buy in. And they got you to buy in. And they got for sure Amelia Schimmel to buy in was now pitcher wins don't matter. There's more important things because all of a sudden everybody said, well, what Jacob deGrom would lose after throwing 7 good innings. They kind of they got you all. Brian, our guy BK is all, and then all of a sudden, bullpen, and then the game, everybody went, oh my God, this is awful. This is awful baseball. And right now, starters averaged 5 1/3 innings. That was it this year. And we're really realizing awful. So baseball, once again, for what you started to like, baseball's going to set rules to go against what you liked, which was more relievers. More relievers means less starters. That was the game plan you liked, and you're now coming around saying, yeah, this is not good. Because the more starting pitchers pitch in the game, the more they factor in the game. That's just fact.
I remember telling one of my buddies this, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that it's a bummer that Verlander's probably going to start. I think he's starting the year on the injured list because he's, I think, 43 wins away from 300. And I said, he's probably the last guy that'll ever get to 300. He goes, no, there'll be other. Who? No one's even close.
Well, if you change the rules.
That's what I mean. Like, if we're going with the rules right now and guys are going to pitch deeper into games and all that, yeah, maybe we'll see someone get there. But I think the next closest active guy that's not like in his late 30s is Garrett Cole, and he's only like 140 or something like that.
Yeah, there's no one even sniffing it. Got to bring back CC Sabathia.
Or Barty.
Or Bartolo Colon. Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing. It's like.
Yeah, right now, sorry, it's Verlander, Greinke, Scherzer, Kershaw. If you go with someone that's not old, Garrett Cole's 145 career wins.
Scherzer's at 214, Kershaw's at 210. They got no chance.
And Greinke's at 220, but he's not even on a team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they took the star power out of the starting pitcher, and they did it because it's cheaper. It's basically like American manufacturing. How can we do it cheaper? Do it overseas. Quality's not as good, but it's cheaper, and our stockholders are happy about that. That's essentially what baseball front offices have done. Paying starting pitchers costs a lot of money. So I got analytics guy who comes in and says, well, we don't have to have that starting pitcher because we got these bullpen guys. And by the way, these bullpen guys are cheap and we can ship them up and back and up and back and up and back and store guys in AAA up and back, up and back. I mean, the Rays made a living off of it. The Rays made a living and have been competitive in one of, you can say, the toughest division in baseball for many years by, I'm not going to say circumventing the rules, but I mean, it's kind of pretty blurred lines. It's not what the minor leagues was meant for, wasn't turn and burn. Guys are hurting. That's not what bringing guys, your farm system was really meant for, but you find ways, right? Moneyball was about finding ways, but the Rays started doing this. And then they started to realize, well, we're going to try as much as possible to not have, they would say, yeah, it's not like we don't want starters. No, you really don't want starters because if you did, you got to pay them. If you have legit bona fide starters, you got to pay them. It's cheaper to have a guy go 4 innings and then bring in 4 other guys to finish the game. And when they get tired, send them down and bring a new crop up.
Best example of this now?
Essentially, it's about money. Going with bullpen guys unless you rather pay your position players and pay less for pitchers. And then now you got them all blowing out all the time. It's not good for the game, right? Can you imagine a revolving? Usually the guy with the ball the most is a prominent, if not star player. Point guards in the NBA, obviously quarterbacks, people who handle the ball, the center in hockey are usually they're a star player or a real prominent player. And right now, hell, NFL free agency started today, will be a big thing, will be consumed by the American sports thing. And you brought up a great point. Name me 2 guys who handle the ball who should be stars in spring training right now are not even on a team.
Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery aren't on a team, but hold on. First day of NFL free agency, Russell Wilson's a Steeler. Kirk Cousins is an Atlanta Falcon. Apparently Josh Jacobs is now a Packer. Saquon Barkley's an Eagle. All these people signed on the first day, and yet our reigning Cy Young winner in the National League still isn't signed, and it's March 11th, and spring training's almost over.
What is the most visited sports website?
ESPN.
I'm going to ESPN.com right now. I haven't been there all day. We're going to go there right now. Let's see. Raiders, here's the top headlines. Breaking news, Kirk Cousins is a Falcon, $180 million deal. Kirk Cousins has made an extreme amount of money.
Yes.
Good for him.
And remember, he had the fully guaranteed deal with the
average.
Vikings.
He's average.
Oh, they got some guys in Atlanta. He could be the guy that maybe helps them.
He's average. Kirk Cousins, when it's all said and done, Kirk Cousins will be an average quarterback who made a bazillion dollars. All right, let's go down the top headlines on ESPN.com. You ready? Top one, Raiders signed defensive tackle Wilkins, 4 years, 110. Source, Titans signing Pollard to 3-year deal. Multiple errors on Kobe Bryant's statue to be fixed. No idea what the hell that is.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Bakhtiari is going to sign with the done in Green Bay after 11 years. Eagles defensive end Huff on $51.1 million deal. Brother of LSU Johnson arrested after tussle. Source, Bengals receiver Higgins requests trade. Source, Jags to sign wide receiver Davis to 3-year deal.
Yeah, 3 years for $50 million for Gabe Davis.
That's all the top headline stories on the most visited sports website right now. Are all football except Kobe Bryant statue. And the top 2 free agent pitchers in baseball, the guys who handle the baseball who should be stars, no one's even talking about it.
Apparently yesterday there was a lot of people were starting to get excited because Blake Snell put an Instagram story post out where it was just the eyeball emoji. And then, that was 24 plus hours ago, and he's still unsigned. Are the Yankees going to go after him now because of the whole thing with Garrett Cole, because we don't know what's going on, and he has going to get the MRI. Jordan Montgomery, you even heard it. We even heard his name, and besides when I heard Buster only reported that he had a Zoom call with the Red Sox. That's it. I mean, that's all I've seen about him. And then Blake Snell, I haven't. Nothing. We're on March 11th. Spring training ends in 2 weeks.
The guy won the award for the best pitcher in the National League, and it is March 11th, and he doesn't have a job. Doesn't have a job. First day of NFL free agency. First day. Kirk Cousins has a job. Russell Wilson has a job.
Look at it this way. I said it to you when I got in here. This one hits home because I'm a Steelers
By the way,
fan.
I opened the door. You guys got to realize, I opened the door, and the dog and I are looking at him, and he just bombards me with. See, he sits at home and stews on Twitter, X, and then he comes here. He has no one to talk to but me, and I open the door, and he just bombards me with all this stuff.
The Steelers are signing Russell Wilson for like 1 year, $1.2 million, because the Broncos paid him $85 million to go away. Think about that. And he signed last night in the legal tampering window. Yet the National League Cy Young winner still doesn't have a job. Oh, there is baseball news.
Are you cool with that, by the way?
What, Russ? I am, because I think he could help the Steelers win. Did you see their quarterback play?
Oh, you're Johnny Two Gloves. You were loving him last year.
Look, someone put it out there, and I've seen this multiple times. Since Ben Roethlisberger retired, the Steelers have thrown 25 touchdown passes. Russell Wilson threw 26 last year.
You know what, though? The fact that you had Ben Roethlisberger for
career.
that long, I mean, come on, man. The fact that Niner fans, you went from Montana to Young. Come on. To have great quarterback play for 20-something years is an anomaly. Most teams don't. Most teams shuffle through dudes.
Yeah, the Patriots traded Mac Jones already.
I'd take Rich Gannon back with the Raiders right now.
Oh yeah, they gave a big deal to Christian Wilkins.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you guys have this great quarterback. Like John Elway is in Denver forever. Dan Marino is, you got these guys that are there forever. Once again, Niner fans, old Niner fans, by the way, I love the they might be TikTok videos, but they show up on Instagram. The people who are making fun of Niner fans, where everybody's the biggest Niner fan ever, and they don't know. And then they're, hey, where did Brock Purdy go to school? And nobody knows. Bang, bang, Niner gang, huh? Wow. But longtime Niner fans know. I mean, even how about this for Niner fans? Montana to Young to Jeff Garcia was good. He made Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, to have quarterback play for a long time is special.
This is my favorite tweet I've seen so far when it comes to baseball free agency. This is from Pete Abraham of the Boston Globe, who covers the Red Sox. NFL free agency will be over in a few days. Meanwhile, MLB teams are in the 5th month of monitoring the market.
That's something that needs to change. By the way, you know who doesn't like that? Yeah, by the way, Jeff Garcia, for if you Niner fans, he made the Pro Bowl 2000, 2001, and 2000. He's a 3-time Pro Bowl. Now, I know he's not Joe Montana, and I know he's not Steve Young, because they're Hall of Famers. But Jeff Garcia out of Gilroy and
San Jose State,
one of the great Spartans in our Ring of Honor. Love me some Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia was a good quarterback for the Niners. He was in 3 Pro Bowls. Was he? I mean, if you never had Montana and you never had Young, you would have been thrilled with Jeff Garcia. You would have loved his story as the hometown kid, right? But yes, and when they talk about today, and like, why doesn't baseball do this? What's the first thing you hear? Scott Boras says this is so against the players and their rights. And agents run the game, man. That's why we don't have a salary cap. If we had a salary cap, we could have days like this where we said, all right, you got to sign your free agents. We could have our free agents sign by the winter meetings. Can you imagine the winter meetings if you had to sign, if there was some type of, you have to sign by this, and if you don't, there's some major penalty. Oh, my God, you have to give up draft picks. Because God knows we can't give up draft picks.
Well, I said this because I heard this discussion on the front office show with Jim Bowden and Jim Duquette weeks ago. I said they were talking about the Hall of Fame case for Commissioner Manfred. And I said, I think he could be a no-brainer Hall of Famer if he figures out the streaming. He figures out the whole relocation situations and stadium stuff, but mainly how to fix free agency. If he could fix free agency before he leaves in 2029, I think he's a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Can I go to my good friend who I used to do a lot of stuff with? I hosted his first 2 shows on KMBR with him because they knew they had to put somebody who could deal with him. And I thought he was great. And since then, I've had him on for years. That's the Hall of Famer Rick Barry, one of the greatest warriors of all time. I did a lot of work with Rick. I loved Rick. Can I quote my good friend Rick Barry? I'm name dropping. I could not care less.
I knew that's where you were
Does
going.
anybody care if a commission? I don't care. I don't care. I got bigger issues in my life than whether Rob Manfred is going to be a Hall of Famer.
For some reason, I don't know why, but the great Johnny D is calling me. Well,
Bro.
Can't get in.
Bro,
Can't turn my computer on.
Bro, I can't find my phone. Bro, where's the press box? We're playing the D-backs. Where are we today? Are we at home or Salt Lake River or Salt River?
It's in. We're playing at the D-backs place. He said I need to resend the link. This might be a user error on Johnny's part.
What the hell's the name of the park again?
Isn't it Salt River Fields?
Salt River Fields. It's beautiful. So they share it with the Rockies, and just a little from the great Dr. Kern, a little info here. So the Indian tribe that owns the land and built the ballpark, they basically allow the Diamondbacks and the Rockies to play there. Do you get that?
Yeah.
They allow them to play there and train. Do you realize that I don't know which Indian tribe it is, but there's a casino there and they get all the money. So Diamondbacks, Rockies don't have to pay for the facility, don't have to do anything, but then they don't get anything. They can train there. You're allowed to train there. It's brilliant. They built the ballpark where we're going to go, where Johnny is right now. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's another one. It's kind of like Camelback Ranch, where it doesn't really look like a minor league park. It just looks like they look like big league parks that just weren't finished. But in the end, it's a brilliant business deal. We'll build this whole thing, and Arizona being the local team, so they're always going to have big crowds. And then the Rockies, they got all the people coming from the snow. They can play there. You're allowed to play there. You're allowed to train there. But all the money being made goes into the tribe's pocket. Sounds like a good business deal to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because let's face it, a lot of these places, you've got to, as a team, you got to dump the money into it. You got to keep everything up. You got to, you got your workout facilities. You got your facilities that are medical and for training and all that kind of stuff. You're always dumping money into your, for the A's, Ho-Ho-Cam and Fitch Park. We're always dumping money. Not here. But you're not making any money. Now, I'm sure the merch and everything, that's for Major League Baseball and everything, but just like the tickets and the sales and the beers and the hot dogs. Is Johnny ready?
Yeah, Johnny's there. Let's add him.
Hi, Johnny.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. How are you?
Fantastic.
As I just said about that ballpark there, do you agree it's another one of those? It looks like it would have been a big league ballpark. They just stopped building.
This place is stunning. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love this spot. Yeah, you and I talked about it. Some of these facilities here in spring training they're off the charts, and this one is no exception. I love the view. It's supposed to be packed here today. It's a hard ticket to get today. Actually, this place is going to be jam packed today. It's a beautiful, beautiful Monday, and they've come out and support these D-backs here at their home place.
Have you noticed? Because obviously you are the king of spring training now for the Athletics. You're there, so not only are you calling all the games, you're living there, right? So have you noticed more of a buzz around town for the D-backs after making that World Series run?
No question about it. I also noticed, I think they're charging for parking now. They didn't before the World Series run. I think they're charging. They didn't charge. I got in early enough, but my buddy was saying, yeah, I don't remember them charging for parking last year where he parked. They're charging $10 a pop now. So that World Series, they're like, get $10, you can get it. But no, it's there is a buzz here, no question about it, with this club, and they they're primed and ready to make another run. National League pennant winners. They're pretty good.
Well, I'm telling you, we've got dilemmas, but they're great dilemmas, right? They're great dilemmas. We got roster construction,
yes.
and we've got depending on some health, we've got we got a lot of guys, right? And you only get to have 26. And when it comes to position players, you only have 13. You only got 13 position players with 13 pitchers.
Yeah.
And I said earlier, obviously Zach Geloff's a no-brainer. I don't have to bring him up. But the guy that I say it's unconditional. It's well, I am not going to debate it. Lawrence Butler has to be on this team.
I'm with you on that. The problem is he's got options, but you're right though. And it's something we weren't talking about last year, Towny. What we're talking about this year, March 11th, is something we weren't talking about last year. I love these competitive races for what's going to happen to make the roster. Look, they sent out Jordan Diaz, right? They sent out Joey Estes, right? So it tells you a little bit. I mean, Joey Estes being sent out means that they're going to keep him on the, he's going to be on the rotation in AAA with the understanding that he could come back up. He's on the 40-man, but you have sent out guys like Jordan Diaz and Estes. Tells you a little bit about this club right now, March the 11th. A lot more competitive than last year.
Yeah, I got unconditional love like a parent for Lawrence Butler. I mean, it's
hard not to, that guy. Hard not to.
I said it, Johnny. We drafted him. We raised him. He loves this organization. The organization loves him. He's 23. He's the future. I know everybody is about now. But you know what the reality is? It's still building for when this team needs to really be good, which is as we get into 26, 27, and God knows for sure in 2028. Who's going to be in his prime in that time? Zach Geloff, Lawrence Butler. These guys are the future. And that to me, as you know, doing minor league baseball those years, these kids got to know that if you perform, you have a chance. Lawrence Butler has now done it 2 straight springs. You gave him the opportunity last year in the big leagues. He has backed it up with a great spring. You're showing not only Lawrence, you're showing everybody in your minor league system, hey, listen, I want to be like Lawrence Butler. I play well, I have a chance. That's the story that you need to tell not only Lawrence Butler, but everybody else in the organization.
It's a great point. And I also think, there's a chip. This team playing with a little bit of a chip. I talked to Hernandez for a while today in the clubhouse, and he talked about the fact that these guys have heard everything people are saying about 57 wins on the year. And he's like, we're mad. We're going to play with a chip on our shoulder. I think, playing with that collective chip with these guys, they're going to do some things. I think they're going to surprise some people. Lawrence Butler, no exception to that. He said the same thing. So Lawrence Butler, what a guy too, right? I told him yesterday, I said, hey, thanks a lot for coming on the broadcast in the 7th inning. He goes, you kidding me? I had a blast. He enjoys the game. He enjoys everything surrounding the game. And so much fun to watch. Having another great spring. I hope he breaks camp with the club. He's going to be kind of a borderline guy. The outfielders hope he makes it. Even if he starts in AAA, I don't think it'll be long before he joins the big club.
Andujar's playing first base today?
Yes. Yep. Andujar playing first base today. Yep.
Can he could solve a lot of our problems if he just go back over to third.
Yeah, it's just what's going to happen.
I know it's not happening, but so Andujar is going to be on this team.
Oh, no question.
So you've watched him play. What's the best place for him? Because Noda's your first baseman.
Yeah, Noda's first baseman, no question. Well, you got to mix him in DH outfield with it's like when you look at I heard you guys kind of dissecting
outfield. You say outfield, that there's 3 positions. That's why I want to know where can Andujar really play.
I don't know.
This is not a strikeout staff. You have to have a defense behind him.
You do. There's no question. I left field, DH. Those are kind of the spots he's going to play, right? Maybe a little first base, mix him in there a little bit sometimes. Maybe you get some left-handed pitching when you give Noda a blow. You maybe have him against first baseman at that point. But yeah, those are the tough decisions that Mark Kotze is going to have to answer, and I'm sure. Questions he wasn't answering last year. Questions he wasn't asking last year, just for the fact that this is brand new. This is a more competitive roster this year, so I think it's pretty exciting.
Well, as you're going around dining with celebrities there in Scottsdale every single night, I'm sitting at home grinding this roster going, are we really going to keep 6 outfielders? And then you only have 5 infielders? Because you got to have 2 catchers. My math said that's 13.
Yeah.
Are you really going to keep 6 outfielders?
I don't know. Look, infield. Who do you? Toro. Do you think Toro makes the team, or is Hernandez going to make the team.
Well, Diaz right now is not playing, and they keep saying, well, he's going to – well, until Diaz comes back, Diaz to me would be like Luis Medina with the season on the IL.
You're right. You're right. It's going to be – you're right. Aledmus, I forgot about that. So Aledmus is going to be he's resumed baseball activities, so he's going to be in the mix too. So, yeah, I know you got a math problem there, don't you? You got a little bit of a math problem. So you got to figure things out. But you're right that when I look at the outfield log jam, everybody's having a good spring. And so it's going to be very difficult to make these calls. And, man, you wish you had 28 spots, not 26, but that's kind of the nature of the beast, right, this time of year.
Well, that's what scares me is if you keep – because who has it, Commander? Who's got us keeping 6 outfielders? Was it Fangraphs?
Fangraphs roster research.
Fangraphs has us keeping 6 outfielders. Well, if you have 5 infielders and a guy gets hurt, I mean, you have no depth, right? And you're going to need whoever this person is, Hernandez, Toro, they've got to be able to play short, second, third, and they got to be able to really play it. You're going to have one backup infielder, basically.
Right, and that's Miss Diaz, right? I mean, he's the guy that they signed. He's the guy that has, he's getting the money. He's the guy that does the veteran presence. He's the guy, but I mean, unless you're going to plan on dealing him at some point, if he plays well and has some trade value, but he's kind of the backup. What do you do with Toro then? You're right. There is a math issue with these numbers.
In your opinion, Hernandez on this team?
I don't see how he can't be on the team. I just don't see. I don't see it. Maybe I don't know. But then again, I can't see Aledmus Diaz not being on. And then what do you do with Toro? And you sign Toro, you trade, you got him. So I don't know. I'm baffled on it. It crushes me, and I love that it crushes me. I love the fact that I have no idea. But I think Ace makes this team.
Well, the best part about it, Johnny, is when you say you just can't see it. Well, you're the only one that gets to see it because we're listening to you. We haven't seen it yet. Like, I've seen a few games, and I'm coming back down. But for our listeners and the people watching on YouTube or our listeners on A's Cast, you're the only guy that sees it every day.
I know. When I can't visualize certain guys not making the team. But at a point, someone's going to get cut. Someone's going to go down and start the year in Las Vegas. So I've got to figure out who that's going to be. And I love this part of spring training is really exciting for me because we don't know. And these roster battles are great, but there is a different vibe in that clubhouse than there was last year at this point. That is factual.
How was your trip home?
Oh, it was so nice to get home. I'm telling you, Towny, it was so great. My wife and I saw the Bob Marley movie. We loved that. We hung out. We had some dinners. Saw my daughter. It was perfect. Perfect.
So how good was it getting back in your own bed?
Oh my gosh. I have the most, I feel like we have the most comfortable bed in the country. I really do. I put it up against any bed. It's so comfortable. Just, it's perfect.
I mean, no offense against the Phoenix Doubletree.
I don't like the tree. The tree's got good pillows and a good bed, but nothing like your home bed. Come on. Nothing.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're down in spring training a long time. I mean, when you have to do I always say this. If you have to do laundry, you're there a lot. Because I always bring enough. Like, even when I was just down there for 2.5 weeks, I bring enough underwear, socks. I'm going to be good, right? I'll be good. The minute you got to do laundry, that's when you know you're there a long time.
Well, I'll tell you, you're there a long time when you check in and they go, a 33-night stay? And I'm like, okay.
I'm coming back down, Johnny. I'm fired up.
Can't wait. We're going to crush it. We got the 15th together, right? We're the 15th together?
It's my birthday.
I know, 52, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna be doing the kids, our kids playing the Giants kids, the spring breakout game. It really is brilliant because it's the only time you've got all of your prospects together is spring training. Because after this, we send them all over the hell. We send them everywhere, right? We got them all here. Yeah, let's see the Giants and the A's. Let's hook up. If we got to look at all these damn top prospects lists over, it's to your top 30. Let's see him. Let's see him play. Let's see him play against I know Giants fans are going to be fired up. All 30 teams, fan bases are. I can't wait to do this game with you.
this was brilliant. I mean, to do this, and it's sweeping throughout baseball. Talking to other broadcasters, everybody's excited about it. Emily did this a long time ago. I mean, this is going to be really fun. And just, you're right, though. All the things you read about the prospects, now we can see it on the field. Yeah, it's one game, but you can see on the field how these guys will do. It's going to be fun.
And it's going to be on, I think NBC's broadcasting it, right?
Is NBC broadcasting that game? Is NBC broadcasting the prospects game?
Network. Chris Carey's going to be on the call for the prospects game.
You're on the network? Chris Carey's here, by the way. Chris Carey. Is that Chris Carey?
Hello, Chris Carey.
Mark Lane's here.
Hello, handsome. I heard you're turning 26 on the 15th.
Well, I'm really turning 21, so we're going to have a blowout when I get down there. So everybody ready,
yeah. Some tequila, a little bit of.
It's going to be fun. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. I'm excited for you to get down here, and I'm excited for the prospects game. I'm excited for it all. The spring training is halfway done now. It's halfway over.
Now, I'm really excited. And I'm only going to bring this up once. I'm also very excited. We're going to have the ownership dinner, which will be great. I'm hosting some stuff there, but I'm really excited for Sunday when you're paying off my steak dinner bet.
Well, Sunday we got Farron's party, bro. The barbecue. Sunday we got the Farron's barbecue party.
We got to go to that. You got to go to that Hacks party.
You're coming with me. You're going with me to that party.
He's been trying to get me to go for years. I guess this will be my year. I got to go.
We're going to have some barbecue and have that steak to be named, bro. I'm going to get you that steak, but let's go to Farron's barbecue thing. It's going to be good.
Now, I've kept my word, and I will not tell our audience what the bet was. I let them know. I just let them know, Johnny, you were like an excited puppy. You just got the job. You thought everything was going to be roses. And I had to be like, it's just not going to be like that.
You did. You humbled me. I needed it.
Well, you got to pay off this bet.
I will. Oh, I'm not a slow pay. We just got to figure it out. We got to get it done.
All right. So we're doing fair. It's going to be. For years, we always leave well before, because, Farron comes on this program a lot.
Yeah.
We always leave before his party.
No, you're at his party this time. This time you are at the party.
All righty. Well, you have a wonderful call. Are you solo today?
I am, but what about my pick to click? What's going on?
Oh, what's your pick to click? Andujar first base?
Nope. My pick to click today is Tyler Soderstrom. Tyler Soderstrom is going to have a big night at the plate, big day at the plate. So I have Tyler Soderstrom as my pick to click. He has at least 2 hits. It's going to be an extra base hit. He's going to be on fire today.
I mentioned this earlier. If you talk roster construction, something that's so valuable is to have a backup catcher who's left-handed for pitch hitting. That is very valuable. I know it's a tough role, but if he can adapt to this role, if you can have a left-handed hitting backup catcher, that is huge for a manager late in games.
No, it's tough because you want Tyler to get those at bats. He's 22. You want him to go get more at bats, but I mean, does it do him good? Shea's going to get the lion's share of the playing time, obviously. So it's like, what do you do with that? I'm kind of conflicted on that. Yeah, I think maybe it's better for Tyler to go down and get 350, 400 more at bats and just rake AAA, right? And then, come back to the big leagues when he's ready there. I don't know because he, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm gonna allow you to weigh in on this, not from the football side of it, but we have breaking news in the National Football League.
Russ Wilson with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Saquon Barkley is leaving the Giants for the hated Eagles. 3 years, $3.75 million. The point is, Johnny, we have the NFL taking over the world again today with free agency, and here Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery have not signed yet. I don't care what the agents say. I'm tired of hearing about the agents. I'm tired. Players make enough money. We need something like this. Baseball needs to figure out, and I know the union will fight it, the players, but you just look at what this does for the NFL. We've got our 2 top pitchers. We got the guy who won the NL Cy Young Award. He's still not signed. We need a signing date like this for baseball. Like the winter meetings would be huge.
And again, I talked about earlier, I think part of it, bro, is just the fact that there's with all these injuries to these starters right now, they're scared of these long-term deals with these starters, and these starters want years. Obviously, they want AAV, but they want years, and it's hard to give a guy that's had injuries years like this. So that's the problem baseball is running into right now. That's the issue, I think.
Johnny's Pick to Click, brought to you by nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. And for all your clothing needs, go to linksole.com. There you go. Your sponsor for Pick to Click.
I love it.
Have a great call, my friend. And remember, get ready. I'll be there on Friday.
Can't wait to see you. Love you, brothers. See ya.
See ya. The great Johnny Doskow on the call today.
There is some breaking baseball news while Johnny was when you're talking to Johnny.
Not Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles. Can you imagine you're going to the Eagles from the Giants?
That's a train right away.
They hate each other.
Well, the Eagles lost their running back. DeAndre Swift's now a Bear. So Lucas Giolito, who just signed a new big deal with the Red Sox this offseason.
Tommy John.
It's not Tommy John, but he's having an elbow surgery, probably out for the year. Having it tomorrow.
Is he having the bracket?
They didn't say what the surgery was. It just says
the bracket is just basically a newer, fancier version of Tommy John. You called the Brock Purdy. I call it the Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. Undergoing elbow surgery. Doesn't say how long he'll be out, but they're expecting probably the year. He just signed him to a 2-year, $37.5 million deal.
I just saw some of Trevor Bauer. What, he's dominating Dodger?
Oh, yeah. He pitched in a minor league game yesterday for the Asian Breeze, is like this team that they're going to travel and play minor leaguers, and he dominated yesterday.
Take it or leave it, as we always like to play. Trevor Bauer will pitch in Major League Baseball this year. Take it or leave it.
Leave it. I don't think.
Buying or selling?
Selling. I don't think people want. I don't know why he's not going to getting a second chance. I mean,
you don't know why?
Well, I mean, like, I mean, I know why, but.
Okay.
But like everyone always talks about second chances, and he's not going to get one. So I mean, he's probably going to pitch over in Japan again. I guess he's thrown up to I guess he hit 99 yesterday, according to his agent on social media. I mean, I know he's playing against minor leaguers, but
he's still Trevor Bauer.
I think his quote yesterday was
still better than Trevor Bauer. When it is right, is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's a Cy Young Award winner.
He said he goes, hopefully people will see that I'm still one of the best pitchers in the world. Yeah. Like after what he did yesterday against the Dodgers minor leaguers. He shoved against his old team, essentially.
Buying or selling, you're selling. When are we going to get back into buying or selling?
When the season starts.
All right.
Well, we'll do Know Your Mariners tomorrow, Johnny. We haven't played them yet.
Mariners are an interesting bunch, man. I was watching their preview on MLB Network. They still got a ton of pitching. They've got a ton of pitching. Can they hit?
That's wow.
And they were there, man. It was the last weekend. AL West came down to the last weekend.
You know what?
Bregman saying, everybody asked what would happen if the Astros don't win the division. I guess we'll never know. Poof, and he popped it. And then, of course, Seager returned the favor in the after the World Series and on the stage, getting the World Series trophy. But, yeah, in the end, Astros, Rangers, it was the Mariners left home. They went to the very last weekend. So, but they got a problem. They've got a television issue. And their television issue is different from other people's television issue. Someone explained it to us.
Wasn't it Ryan Divish, our guy from the Seattle Times?
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
There's something about they own it, but now they're talking about it's going to be a subscription base. So if you want to watch Mariners baseball in the Pacific Northwest, you've got to pay the cable and the subscription, something like that. So basically, you have your cable package, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want Mariner baseball, you've got to. It's something that will be people now we know do not want to pay. I still pay it. You don't. A lot of people don't, right? So they've got cable money issues, and because of that, they didn't spend this offseason when their window is now with this pitching. Their window, they got rid of Suarez. Who else did they get rid of?
Suarez was gone. Here, I can pull up their roster. There is a guy out there right now I could see them maybe signing because the Giants just released
J.D.
Davis.
Yeah.
He would be a guy they can maybe put in their lineup. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to go in there 30 home runs for them, but he's a guy that could.
J.D. Davis is what, 31 years old?
He's
30,
up there.
31.
They lost Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah.
Tom Murphy. Those are the big ones that they lost in free agency. They did sign our guy Ryan Stanek though.
Yes, they did.
Stanek's back in the division.
It's getting closer to us. He's going to be an A. Ryan Stanek, the opener, is going to be an A at some point. Can't wait to see him. Love that guy.
Oh, they got Mitchie Haniger back. Because they sent Robbie Ray to the Giants.
That's right. I was watching the other day. Mitch Haniger came to the plate. I was watching the Angels and the Mariners late night. I know I got to get a life. And Haniger came up, and you look at his numbers like, this guy just great guy. Mitch Haniger is a great guy. He's a local product from down here in the South Bay. Great guy. He just can't stay healthy.
If you look, I'm looking at the roster right now.
Tell me their lineup.
Right now, I'm going to go through it and how they got the guy. J.P. Crawford, they traded for him.
Good player.
Julio Rodriguez, good player. They signed
Great player.
out of the Dominican as a free agent. Jorge Polanco, who they got from the Twins this offseason. Mitch Garver, who they signed as a free agent this offseason. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, they drafted him.
But he's all home run and that's it.
Yeah.
But whatever, he's a catcher. You just need him to catch.
Ty France, the guy they traded for. Decent player.
Helped me out last year on my we really can't play fantasy baseball. He helped me out.
Luke Raley, who they got from the Rays, who had a nice year for the Rays. They traded for him. Mitch Haniger, traded for. Josh Rojas, who they got from the Diamondbacks, traded for.
Does that sound like a World Series roster?
Basing off of that.
To go with that starting pitching?
Here's our starting rotation. Luis Castillo, pretty good pitcher.
Great.
Logan Gilbert.
Great.
George Kirby.
Really good.
Bryce Miller.
There you go.
Brian Wu.
Was impressive. And they got who's the other? They got another guy. They've got a sixth guy. God, who was it? Know Your Mariners. Do I have my Mariners stuff here? Where's my Know Your Mariners?
I know the two prospects they got back in the deal for the
I
guys.
got Brewers, I got Padres, I got Royals,
the guy
Angels.
Oh, remember they lost our guy, Scottsdale Bro, Jared Kelnick. The two guys they traded for in that deal with Atlanta, both the guys they got back are having Tommy John surgery. One of them's Jackson Kowar, and the other one was a prospect.
Do you want me to act surprised?
No,
Who's
but
this other Mariner guy I'm thinking about? They got 6 dudes. Man, I can't think of his name. But they got, watching their preview, they got 6 let's go. They should be all in. They should have been all in. They should have said
Emerson Hancock.
Is that it?
I mean, he's a prospect for them that they like.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But they've got a ton of pitching talent, and this was like, go get some bats, man. You got a chance to win the World Series. Your window is now. Now. And they didn't do it.
Well,
and Jerry Dipoto, we will get into. We're going to have a segment right before the season starts. Biggest pressure. Biggest pressure on teams and biggest pressure on individuals. We've asked around. I'll keep asking people. But, and then I want everybody to think, I want to know everybody's expectations. So when I'm doing the post-game show and somebody calls up and they go, I go, wait a minute, your expectations were this. Callers seem to forget their expectations at the start and things start to change.
They push the goalpost back or move them forward.
They move the goalpost.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like Scott Norwood. I can't make this dang thing. What was the guy in Jim Carrey's Pet Detective?
Finkel.
Finkel. What are your expectations?
Ray Finkel.
What are the expectations? Because you have to stick to it. Yeah, things can change, but you have to be realistic. What are your if your expectations are to win the World Series, fine, that's great. Expectations to win the division, expectations to win X amount of games, to have improved. What are the expectations? If you exceed that, that's wonderful. But you can't are you going to say I expect the A's to win 100 games this year?
No,
you'll sound like a donkey. So that's why I want, because, people get heated and say a lot of things on the post-game show that I got to deal with. I want to keep people, what are your expectations? Tell me what they are at the beginning, and let's go from there. And let's not deviate too much. I like that idea. So we'll do expectations, too. We still have a lot to do. We got 2 weeks left. Roster construction. Andujar playing first base today. Very interesting. Because you're trying to find a way to get your best bats. Because, there's There is the you and I feel, hey, man, we got to build this team for the future if we really want to. You want to win a World Series again, you got to build this team. But there's also is the now, because the GM and the manager, they want to win now. So you need some bats and a heart first. Interesting. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Happy Monday, everybody. A's baseball coming up next against the Snakes. We'll see you tomorrow right here on A's Cast Live. And you can hear us tomorrow on A's Cast. That will all be at 11 a.m. Enjoy A's baseball next.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes